Hi Eddie, how are you?
Good. How are you, Josh?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thank you, and so excited to be able to talk to you as a fan of your work. And I had such a great time watching this film, and I thought Ronnie, fascinating character in the sense that we see he's very much resigned to his fate, and in the sense he's part of this gang. But what is it that really excites you as an actor about playing a character who couldn't be any less excited to be in the position that we find him in?
I think it's the internal struggle, really. I think it's fascinating to play a man who learned to read and write in prison, went down one pathway and lost his way, and then tried to change. I think that's very fascinating to play. Um, I left school at 15 with no qualifications, so I kind of understand what it's like to be academically challenged. I've always been academically challenged in many ways. So I can kind of understand him not wanting to be dismissed in any way. And I love the scenes that he has with Royce, where he tries to impart wisdom based on his own mistakes.
Yeah, yes, I loved those moments in the film. And, Ray Donovan is one of my all-time favorite shows. And I feel like Terry, your character is surrounded by all these people with very explosive personalities, like Sam's character. And before things escalate, what was it like for you to be having to hold yourself back in those scenes when obviously the human reaction would be to explode back? But we see that Ronnie is very controlled, at least as I said initially when we meet him.
Well, when you read the script, you know that violence is coming, but you
Oh,
have to own the violence, really. So it's like a piece of music, really. The writer's written it, John has written it as if it's a piece of music. So you have to play the notes at a given point. It's like a an orchestration, like a crescendo, and you have to get to that point. And the way you get to that point is there's a choreography of thoughts before, and words are just thoughts, really. There's a choreography of thoughts. You have to think them at each point, and then because if not, the violence becomes unjustified and just gratuitous, and then it has no impact, really.
yeah, that's so fascinating to hear that. And of course, I'd love to know as well for you, what is the appeal of playing people who I think are good or at least moral, but they're doing terrible things as well, as we see from Ronnie in the film?
I think that's playing a human being. I think most
Hmm.
people are good people who end up doing bad things, you know. We live in a world where it's very binary, where everybody thinks there are villains and victims, and all those people who perpetuate those myths always consider themselves to be the heroes of the story. And actually, human beings aren't villains and victims. They're just unhappy people in search of happiness, really. That's
Yeah.
how you play it.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, this is quite obviously being a lower budget film. There's, I imagine, quite a tight-knit crew and a smaller crew, and obviously a small cast as well, which serves the story really well. So, did that make it almost easier to tap into that cabin fever-like mentality that obviously your character's going through as they're all stuck out in this cottage together?
Not really. I think there's a bit of a misconception about filming because the size of a film. Because every time you do a scene, it's always within one room. Within. Very rarely do you speak to hundreds of people. You're usually speaking to one person or two people. So there's always an intimacy because you're playing the psychology of the character. So there's always there has to be an intimacy within your performance in order for authenticity, do you know? So it doesn't really affect me whether it's a big film or a small film, that every scene is an intimate scene.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome to hear. And actually, talking of scenes like that, you mentioned Royce, and you have that great scene with Tien Simon where you're obviously warning him about Reynolds and obviously recounting Ronnie's past. So, how impressed were you by him as a relative newcomer and just working on that really heavy dialogue scene and quite an intimate scene, like as you just said?
There was a fascinating there was a fascinating aspect to his performance. All acting, in a sense, is giving testimony to what it means to be a human being. And Tien, it was his first time on a film set. He was quite nervous. He was a bit slightly disorientated. He'd never been on a set before.
Wow.
And when I was a young actor, I would have tried to kind of macho it out. I would have tried to be cool and I would have hidden my insecurities. But what the great thing about Tien's performance was he took his own insecurity and his disorientation because he knew that that's what Tien was, that's what Royce was feeling. And so he put that into that. He gave testimony to what it means to be a human being in that situation. And that's a very courageous thing to do, to not try and look cool, to not try and look like you're confident, but to accept your your insecurity in a sense, to accept your own disorientation. That's a very brave thing for a young actor to do. And I think it means that you can see that when he gets older and his career goes along, there's going to be lots of authentic performances, beautiful performances from him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he did such a terrific job. And another actor I love seeing you share the screen with, obviously Sam. He is
Yeah.
playing, as I said, a very explosive, very violent personality. So what, in contrast to that relationship, what did you really enjoy about exploring that dynamic as well?
What I loved about Sam, in a sense, this is Sam refusing to be a movie star and wanting to be an actor. Sam considers is a very good actor and considers him to be himself to be an actor. And I have great admiration for him for playing this part because he's a very unattractive character in many ways, but he does it brilliantly. There's very he's very it's a very unvain performance, and I think that's a testimony to him really as an artist. His lack of
Yeah.
vanity.
Yeah, for sure. And just while I've got you, Eddie, we've been seeing some Clayface set photos. We've seen you on set up in Liverpool. And obviously, this is the first DCU horror film. James Watkins, amazing director. What's your experience been like so far getting into that DC universe?
James is a wonderful director, and I think Tom is an incredible actor. You're going to see an amazing performance.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I cannot wait for that one. But back to this film, no spoilers whatsoever, but there's some real gut punch moments in the film, some big surprises. So, how excited are you for people to see those? And obviously, having experienced those yourself, sitting down to read the script for the first time, I imagine.
The amazing thing when people see this film and the response we've had in Q&As and in questions we've been asked today is that people want to go back and watch it again. They want to see the signs. There's a great big
Yes.
revelation at the end, and they think that and they want to go back and they want and they find significance in the smallest of things. Somebody asked me if Rory Kinnear's character was the devil and Suki was an angel. And today a journalist asked me, was there significance in the guillotine and on the cover of A Tale of Two Cities? All that they can see so many things. What this film does is it invites people to invest in the movie. And I think that's a great piece of art. And it's a testament to Barnaby's direction, really.
Yeah, well, I definitely cannot now wait go back and rewatch it, and I cannot wait for people to see it for the first time. So, Eddie, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, huge fan of yours, and cannot wait for this and Clayface to be seen. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.